Good morning, and we are in chapter 2 of Moses. And this is going to be the creation. A lot of it will sound very familiar, as it sounds a lot like um, Genesis. Now, what's the difference between Genesis and Moses? Well, remember, Moses is in Moses, we are hearing him speak with the Lord. In Genesis, we're hearing an account that he gave to the children of Israel. And I think there's a difference. This to me is more him writing it down in his journal and saying, "This is what happened to me." And the other one is writing for everybody to know, to understand, and to learn from. So I think there's a few things as we go along. It's um, I might point out some things, but also take some time. Read them next to each other. Read each line um, if you've got the time. And we've also got Abraham next as well, which is a different person and a different language he uses to describe these things. And that'll be fun to look at that too. But I'm not going to put them next to each other. I've done that in the past. I mean, I've had a long time to look at this, but in my life. But what I do want to do is just pull out a few things as we're reading, so that you can go back and look at it yourself. And it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I reveal unto you concerning this heaven and this earth. Remember, he had shown them heavens and earth um, all over, but he says, this is the one that I want you to to think about. And so that's what we're going to do. And we've got the same help that we had in the Old Testament, which is, did God create the earth out of nothing? And we already said no, he didn't. So now he's supposed to write the words which he spake. So, and we get that in Genesis, and we also get it here. But this, remember, is a vision to Joseph Smith and what he learned from Moses. And he starts off with this statement, the Lord does, I am the beginning and the end, the Almighty. By mine only begotten, I created these things. So by Jehovah, he created these things. Yea, in the beginning I created the heaven and the earth upon which thou standest. So here we have the Almighty saying, I'm here. I'm the beginning of anything that you would know, and I'm the end of anything you could know. Is one reading that I'm getting from this, because he's going to be talking about everything we upon this earth can know. And because before the earth was created, he was already doing other stuff, and we'd already learned that yesterday. He wants us to know this is what we want to know, or we should concentrate on, and that he is the God of it all. There's no other God. There's no other person doing this. The earth was without form and void, and I caused the darkness to come upon the face of the deep, and my spirit moved upon the face of the water, for I am God. So he was already there, and 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 the earth was without form and void. So I guess it's like a cloud or something, and that's how most earths that we know of are formed, or with this dust cloud that just comes together and gravity pulls it together until it becomes a planet. And it was then he says he caused a darkness to come upon the face of the deep and upon the face of the water. So this is a water planet. This has water and deep places. And I, God, let there be light, and there was light. And I, God, saw the light, and the light was good. Remember the term I mentioned yesterday. He looked at each thing, figured out, is it good? And I, God, divided the light from the darkness. That's one thing that we can take away from this in our own lives. Do we step back a little bit and look at what we're doing, and is what we're doing good? Um, and we just finished Light the World campaign during Christmas. Um, and was there things that we stood back and said, that light was good? That thing I did that helped light the world a little bit was good. That is what we can take from this. We might not be creating a world, but we may be helping somebody in their world. I, God, saw, okay, and I, God, divided the light from the darkness. And I, God, called the light day and the darkness night. And I called, and the darkness I called night. And this I did by the word of my power, and it was done as I spake, even, sorry, and the evening and the morning were the first day. So we finished the first day, and notice that there's a little difference. He keeps saying evening and morning. So whatever that means, and it does sound like, oh wow, that's 24 hours, but it's not even 24 hours because it's from the evening and the morning. But we still don't know what that period is. We just know that this is what he gave Moses to understand, to teach the children of Israel about him being the beginning and the end. That all of this was created by him, and no thing was not created by him. And again, I, God, let there be a firmament in the midst of the water, and it was so, even as I spake. And I said, it divide the waters from the waters, and it was done. Uh, which is an interesting way to say it. Oh, divide the same thing from the same thing. Um, and all it seems to be is, again, it seems to be talking about the atmosphere area. But back then, what do they know? They see a blue above them and blue below them um, when it comes to waters. And it was done. And I, God, made the firmament and divided the waters, yea, the great waters under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was even so as I spake. Notice he mentions things like, as I spake, and I created, and it was so. Everything is obeying the Lord. Everything. And I called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning was the second day. So we've got the second day, and notice he calls the firmament heaven. And a lot of people took this so literally. Here we go, heaven is just above, and if we go above in the above the clouds and into the blue, we're going to see heaven. Then all of a sudden we have spaceships that go into space, and they're going, this isn't what we thought was heaven. So what? God wasn't saying it was like that. He wasn't trying to say um, what it was or anything like that. He's saying why it was. And I, God, said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and it was so. And God said, let there be dry land, and it was so. So we have the waters and the land separated at this point. And I called the dry land earth, and gathered together the waters, and called I sea. And gathering together the waters, I called the sea. And I, God, saw all these things which I made were good. Again goes back and goes, okay, how am I doing? Oh, that is so good. You know, he's definitely making sure that each part was exactly how he wanted, and that it was good. And I, God, said, let the earth bring forth grass and herb yielding seed, the fruit of the tree yielding fruit after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed should be in itself above upon the earth. And it was so, even as I spake. Again, is reminding us who did it and how did he do it. They obeyed him, and as soon as he spake it, it was so. The earth, the grass, and the fruit, and everything, that all happened because he said so. And the earth brought forth grass, every herb yielding seed after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed should be in itself after its kind, his kind. And I, God, saw that all things which I made were good. Again, checking up. The seeds were good. And the evening and the morning was the third day. We finished 3 days. And I, God, said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. I think it's interesting that they put in their signs. And throughout history, that's the one thing when we look at the stars, everybody sees something in the stars. And there's something about them. Let them be for lights of the firmament in the heaven, and give light upon the earth. And it was so. And I, God, made two great lights, the lesser light to rule the day, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. And the greater light was the sun, and the lesser light was the moon. And the stars were also made according to my word. And it was true. He made all those. When and how might be different things, and how he placed them near the earth, or the earth near these lights, is not said here either. It's just letting us know he made these things, and he is the beginning and the end, and we need to remember that. And I, God, set them in the firmament of heaven, and gave light upon the earth, and the sun to rule the day, and the moon to rule the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And I, God, saw all things which I had made were good. Again, and remember, the difference here is when he says, I saw that they were made, that they were good. He doesn't just say, and it is good. He says, that which I had made were good. Each time he mentions good, he is looking at what he's done, looks that it was good, and then he moves on. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day, and I, God, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl which may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And I, God, created whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And I, God, saw all these things which I had created were good. Again, which I had created were good. And I, God, blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply, fill the waters in the sea, and let the fowl multiply in the earth. Again, telling them to concentrate and and obey his word, and they do. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. And I, God, said, Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping things, and beasts of the earth after their kind. And it was so. And I, God, made the beasts of the earth after their kind, and the cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and all these things were good. Now, we're going to stop there. That's the sixth day, but as part of the sixth day, um, uh, yesterday I read about the creation of man and woman, but we're going to cover that in another section as well here in Moses and in Abraham after we finish these. But notice that God wants Moses and us to know that what he did was good, first of all. This world is not a place of punishment or anything like that. Um, it is a place of goodness, and we can look at the goodness in our lives and find the goodness in other people's lives. And also, he is the beginning and the end. All these things that are mentioned, none of it was before the Lord created it, and it won't last after the Lord. Um, he is the beginning and the end, and I think that's some of the things that we need to take from this. I hope you have a wonderful day and you see the creations of God as you go out in the world today, and we'll see you tomorrow.